All right, today we're going to conduct a forensic deconstruction of a fraud that operates right under our noses and, well, sometimes literally right under our floors. It's a system that's designed to take a very universal fear, the fear of an infestation, and turn it into a weapon against you. So let's dive in.
And this really gets to the heart of the whole thing, doesn't it? The real threat isn't some termite you can't see. It's the so-called expert you just willingly let through your front door. See, these people don't just find problems, they create them. And they do it with nothing more than a clipboard, some fancy-sounding jargon, and maybe a little baggie of evidence they brought with them.
So, here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to map out the psychological battlefield they operate on. Then, we'll dissect the scam itself, piece by piece. We're going to pinpoint the exact moment the whole con hinges on. And then, most importantly, we're going to build you a solid defense system. And we'll wrap it all up with a simple mantra to keep you safe.
Okay, so to beat this scam, you've got to understand the environment where it grows. And I'm not talking about wood rot or moisture in your crawl space. I'm talking about the vulnerabilities that are hardwired into our own brains. The con artist isn't an expert in bugs. They're an expert in you.
It all starts with something called disgust sensitivity. You know that deep, primal ick factor feeling? When a stranger shows you what looks like proof of bugs or rot in your home, this biological alarm just goes off. Your brain gets flooded with emotion, and it's that state of panic that scammers weaponize to totally short-circuit your logical thinking. Next, they layer on top of that something called authority bias. I mean, think about it. A person shows up in a uniform. They're holding a clipboard, maybe some fancy-looking gadget. We're just conditioned to trust them. That uniform acts like a key, you know? It unlocks a level of trust you would never give a stranger in a t-shirt, and it lets them just waltz right past your natural skepticism. And the last piece of this setup is what we call information asymmetry. It's a fancy term for a really simple idea. They know, or at least they pretend to know, everything that's going on in the dark, hidden parts of your house. And you know nothing. That knowledge gap, that's the playground where this entire scam operates. It allows them to present whatever fake evidence they want, and you have no way to challenge. So we've looked at the psychological setup. Now let's see how they put it all together. We need to look at this scam not as some random act, but as a predictable, repeatable machine. And now, we are going to take that machine apart.
Here's the playbook from A to Z. It starts with targeting. They're often looking for older homes. Then comes the hook, the free inspection. That's how they get in the door. Once inside, they manufacture a discovery. They find evidence they brought with them. This is immediately followed by some serious fear-mongering. Your house is being eaten alive. And finally, the extraction. They pressure you for a big, immediate payment.
And you have to understand this. This is so crucial. The moment you agree to a free inspection from someone who just showed up at your door, you've lost control. The goal was never to inspect. The goal was to get access. They need to get into your attic, your crawl space, somewhere you can't see them, so they can set the stage for their little show.
Now, to really turn up the heat, they often use what's called the neighbor ruse. It's all about creating this fake story of a neighborhood-wide crisis. When they say they were just next door, they're faking social proof. And when they tell you your neighbors are all taking care of it, they're playing on your fear of being the only one on the block who didn't act. You know, the fear of looking like a fool.
And boy, they have a whole toolkit of tricks to keep you off balance. They'll drop intimidating technical terms. They might show you photos on a tablet that, for all you know, were taken 1,000 miles away. They'll do a splash and dash, spraying some harmless water around just to make it look like they're doing something. And this is a big one. They'll create a privacy window. They'll tell you not to talk to your neighbors about it to protect property values. But what they're really protecting is their lie.
So we've seen what they do, we've seen how they do it, but now for the big question. Why on earth is this so effective? Let's drill down into the very specific psychological mechanics that make really smart, careful people fall for this scam.
This is it. This is the psychological choke point. It's a moment of pure theater. The scammer comes out of your crawl space, he's got a real serious look on his face, and he presents you with a handful of physical proof. Some wings, maybe some droppings. Now, it doesn't matter that he planted it there himself. In that single instant, your brain sees that evidence, and that emotional alarm we talked about just explodes. The crisis is now real in your mind.
So what's actually going on in your head right then? Well, psychologists talk about two systems of thinking. You've got your system 2, which is your slow, logical brain. But in a moment of crisis like this, system 1, the fast, emotional, intuitive part, just completely takes over. It's screaming danger, and it totally shuts down the part of your brain that would normally ask, Hey, wait a second. Where did that stuff actually come from?
And here's where the manipulation does a complete flip. It's actually kind of brilliant in a terrible way. They've taken your pride of ownership and weaponized it against you. Suddenly, you're not being scammed out of $4,000. You are now proactively investing $4,000 to save your home. That payment stops feeling like an expense and starts feeling like a rescue mission. You feel like you're being responsible, when really you've been pushed into a compliance loop. Okay, we have taken their system apart. Now, let's build your defense. The tone is shifting right now. We're moving from being the potential victim to being the investigator. This is your forensic defense system, and it's designed to be an impenetrable shield against this kind of fraud.
First things first, red flag detection. These are the sirens that should be going off in your head. Unsolicited offers, intense pressure for a same-day decision, a special price that disappears the second they leave. These are all classic signs of a scam. And just remember this one simple truth. A good, legitimate pest control company is busy. They almost never need to go door to door looking for customers.
Now, this is your single most powerful defense. It's called the Independent ID Protocol. If they find evidence, you take control of it. You secure the sample in a jar or a plastic bag. Then you calmly state your rule. Thank you. My policy is to get all samples independently identified. That one sentence shifts the power dynamic instantly. You're not just believing, you are verifying. A scammer will almost always fold right here because they know their planted evidence can't survive real scrutiny.
But let's say they're persistent. Your next firewall is the license audit. Think of this as the definitive background check, and it is a non-negotiable step before you let anyone spray chemicals in your home or sign any kind of contract, period.
And here's exactly how you do it. It's easy. 1. Ask to see their physical, state-issued license, not a business card. 2. Take a photo of it. 3. Go online to your state's Department of Agriculture website and check that the license number is real and current. 4. Check if there are any complaints filed against them. This 5-minute audit can literally save you thousands of dollars.
Finally, you need a safe way to end the conversation. Just use these rules. The 3-bid rule completely shatters their manufactured urgency. The next day decision rule gives you breathing room, it lets your logical brain come back online. And you have a simple, polite, but firm script for the doorstep. I will review your proposal and get back to you tomorrow. That's not a negotiation, that's you stating your process. We've taken the machine apart, and we've built a shield. So now, let's just boil all of this down into one core lesson. One protective idea that you can remember when you're under pressure.
Here's the absolute truth of it. That feeling of disgust is a script, and they are handing you your lines. The panic, the urgency, the fear. It is all manufactured. If you had no sign of a problem yesterday, and suddenly a stranger tells you your house is about to collapse today, the emergency isn't in your walls. The emergency is standing on your porch.
And so we end with this. This is your protective mantra. It's a simple phrase to just repeat in your head when you're feeling that pressure. I verify the bug, not the bill. No license, no contract, no chemicals. This is your final shield. It's your reminder to trust forensics, not fear. Stay safe,